Let's start with a fact that'll scramble your brain. Some of the foods we eat today have roots stretching back thousands of years, long before written language, the pyramids, or even the invention of the wheel. Some fermented foods have lasted not just decades but millennia, surviving the rise and fall of empires and the sweep of history. Archaeologists have uncovered jars of wine sealed in Egyptian tombs and found traces of ancient brews in Chinese pottery, some over 7,000 years old, preserved by time and tradition. While our ancestors were still figuring out how to roll things on wheels, they'd already mastered the art of letting food go bad in the tastiest, most ingenious way possible. This wasn't just a quirky experiment or a party trick, it was a survival strategy that helped entire civilizations thrive. Before fridges, freezers, or canning factories, people faced a big question. What do you do with extra food when you can't eat it all at once? You watched it rot, sometimes with dread, until someone somewhere noticed that, under the right conditions, rot could actually become preservation, and even create new flavors. Controlled decay, fermentation, became humanity's first great food technology, turning perishables into long-lasting staples and culinary delights. Fermentation was a shield against famine, a way to store the harvest for lean times, and a passport to new, bold flavors that would otherwise be impossible. The fermentation age quietly revolutionized diets everywhere, bubbling away in clay pots and animal skins, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. The cheese on your pizza, the beer in your hand, these are gifts from ancient microbial wranglers, passed down through generations, so when you crack open a kombucha or pile kimchi on your tacos, you're not just following a modern trend or chasing gut health. You're connecting with a tradition older than written history, a practice that links you to people who lived thousands of years ago. Our ancestors harnessed invisible armies of microbes to transform the perishable into the permanent, unlocking flavors and nutrients, and in the process, they changed the course of human history. So next time you savor a tangy bite of cheese or a sip of bubbly kombucha, remember, you're tasting a legacy that's 7,000 years in the making. Now that's what I call a good eat. Why did we start fermenting food? What drove our ancestors to experiment with letting food sit and change, rather than simply eating it fresh or discarding it when it spoiled? The answer is simple: hunger and the ever-present threat of food spoilage. In a world without refrigeration or supermarkets, every meal was a battle against time and decay. Imagine you're a Neolithic farmer, staring at a mountain of cabbage you've worked all season to grow, knowing it'll rot in just a few weeks if you don't act. You can't possibly eat it all before it spoils, and watching it go to waste could mean hunger or even starvation for your family during the long winter months. The discovery of fermentation was almost certainly an accident. A forgotten pot of milk thickens into something new. Grapes left to bubble turn into a fizzy, intoxicating drink. Curiosity and necessity led to experimentation. Survival makes you brave, and sometimes bravery tastes like yogurt, cheese, or even sour pickles. The first to taste these new foods took a risk, but the reward was nourishment and preservation. Suddenly, a seasonal harvest could last through the harshest winter, transforming fleeting abundance into lasting security. Milk became cheese or yogurt, vegetables soured into nutrient-rich pickles. These foods not only lasted longer but often became tastier and healthier in the process. Fermentation was humanity's first pantry, a biological savings account for lean times, a way to store the sun's bounty for the days when nothing grew. For most of history, life was a cycle of feast or famine, with little in between. The ability to preserve food changed everything. Fermentation broke that cycle, giving us control over our food supply for the first time. It allowed families and communities to plan ahead, to thrive rather than just survive. It wasn't just about making food last, it was about securing the future, ensuring that children and elders alike had enough to eat, no matter the season. This simple, natural process gave civilization the stability it needed to grow, to build, and to dream beyond the next meal. Fermentation was our first real food insurance, a quiet revolution that changed the course of human history. What's happening inside that bubbling jar? It might look mysterious, but it's actually a fascinating process, unfolding right before your eyes. Those bubbles are a sign that something magical is taking place. A transformation powered by some of the smallest living things on Earth. Science, but the fun kind. This isn't just lab coats and beakers. It's a living experiment happening in your own kitchen, where you get to play the role of both scientist and chef. Fermentation is a metabolic mosh pit run by bacteria and yeast. These tiny powerhouses work together in a wild, invisible dance, breaking down sugars and creating new flavors, textures, and aromas. These tiny organisms are everywhere, on plants, in the air, on your hands, and they love sugar. They're always ready to get to work, given the right opportunity. In an oxygen-free environment, yeast switches to fermentation, turning sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. This process is what gives us the fizz in our drinks and the rise in our bread. That's how we get beer, wine, and fluffy bread. Each of these foods owes its unique character to the work of these microscopic chefs. Lactic acid bacteria, meanwhile, transform sugars into lactic acid, preserving foods like yogurt, kimchi, and pickles. This not only keeps them fresh but also gives them their signature tang. The acid keeps out harmful microbes, making food safe and tangy. It's a natural way to protect and enhance our food, all thanks to these microscopic helpers. Whether it's yeast or bacteria, the principle is the same. Microbes transform raw ingredients into something stable, flavorful, and often more nutritious. They unlock hidden nutrients and create tastes we can't get any other way. We just provide the ingredients and the right conditions. They do the rest. All it takes is a little know-how and a bit of trust in the process. It's the ultimate collaboration between humans and the unseen world. Together, we create foods that are delicious, safe, and full of history. These tiny chefs have shaped our plates for millennia. Every culture has its own fermented favorites passed down through generations. All you need is a little salt, a dark corner, and patience. The rest is up to your microscopic crew. Microbes do the heavy lifting, turning simple ingredients into culinary treasures, one bubble at a time. Picture ancient China, Great Wall laborers needing food that wouldn't spoil. Their solution? Pack cabbage with salt, essentially pickling it. But what they got was more than just salty cabbage. It was the ancestor of sauerkraut and kimchi. Lactic acid bacteria on the cabbage fermented it, creating a sour preserved food that lasted through winter. This wasn't a quest for flavor, it was survival, and the result was a happy accident. The formula was simple: vegetable, salt, airtight container. Microbes did the rest. This method popped up worldwide: Germany's sauerkraut, Korea's kimchi. Different cultures, same principle: let bacteria make your food better. What started as a way to prevent rot became a culinary revolution. Soured cabbage added flavor, crunch, and nutrition to bland diets. It was a condiment, side dish, and preservative all in one. The accidental discovery of fermented cabbage created a global food category. Sometimes, solving hunger leads to delicious genius. Fermentation's most famous children: beer and bread. Some historians argue these are why we stopped wandering and started building cities. The beer before bread theory suggests early humans grew grains to brew, not bake. Beer was a safe, nutritious drink when water wasn't. Making beer is simple: sprout grains, crush, add water, let wild yeast work. The result? A porridge-like low-alcohol brew, liquid bread. This reliable food and drink may have sparked agriculture and settlements. Bread followed: grind grain, add water, introduce wild yeast, and let it rise. Yeast transforms dough into the airy bread we love. Beer and bread are two sides of the same coin, yeast turning grain into something extraordinary. They fueled communities, rituals, and celebrations. Civilization rose on the back of dough and brew. And yes, probably the world's first hangover too. Preservation was the goal, but fermentation's real gift is flavor. Raw ingredients can be bland: cabbage, soybeans, milk. Add microbes and you unlock a universe of taste acids, alcohols, umami. Ferment soybeans with mold and you get soy sauce, miso, tempeh, umami bombs. Parmesan's nutty sharpness, months of bacteria and enzymes at work. Sourdough's tang, yeast and bacteria in perfect harmony. Balsamic vinegar's complexity, years of fermentation. Fermentation doesn't add one flavor, it adds layers. When you taste stinky cheese or briny olives, you're tasting a microbial ecosystem. These flavors can be weird, bold, and unforgettable. Fermentation moved us beyond sweet, sour, salty, and bitter into a world of complexity. It gave food personality and excitement. Microbes are the world's best flavor makers. For millennia, people ate fermented foods because they felt good, long before science explained why. The secret? Your gut microbiome, trillions of microbes keeping you healthy. Fermented foods are packed with probiotics, live beneficial bacteria. Eating yogurt, kimchi, or sauerkraut delivers reinforcements to your gut. These good bacteria crowd out harmful ones and help digestion. A healthy gut means better immunity and less inflammation. There's even a gut-brain connection. Your gut makes neurotransmitters like serotonin. Some studies link probiotics to better mood and lower anxiety. Fermentation also boosts nutrition, breaking down anti-nutrients and making minerals more available. Sourdough's B vitamins, for example, are easier to absorb. Fermentation doesn't just preserve food, it upgrades it. Fast forward to today, fermentation is having a major comeback. Trendy grocery stores are packed with kombucha, kimchi, kefir, and craft pickles. What started as a preservation method is now a wellness craze. Our obsession with gut health and probiotics drives this revival. People want food that's alive, authentic, and connected to tradition. Fermentation feels wholesome and a bit rebellious. There's a renewed love for craftsmanship, slow, patient, hands-on food. DIY fermentation is booming. Sourdough starters, homemade kombucha, jars of sauerkraut. It's a way to engage with your food and create something unique. But it's not just nostalgia. Chefs and scientists are innovating with new ingredients and techniques. Fermented chili pastes, black garlic, plant-based cheeses, ancient methods, modern twists. Fermentation reduces food waste and inspires the future of food. The old ways are more relevant than ever. The story of fermentation is the story of humanity's partnership with the invisible world. We didn't conquer rot, we tamed it, turning spoilage into gold. Fermentation gave us cheese, wine, bread, chocolate, and more. It let us survive winters, build cities, and fuel civilizations. It's the unsung hero of history quietly shaping our world. Fermentation teaches patience, transformation, and working with nature. Every bite of sourdough or sip of wine is a taste of a 7,000-year-old tradition. Now that's a legacy worth toasting to.